Hi there YouTube. Thought I'd do a piece to camera today. I've just had my first driving lesson ever at the tender age of 46. I know probably a lot of you have started a lot earlier. Why did I leave it so late? Well, back in the old days, they were all manual cars. You had a thing called a clutch. Still, modern cars do. Many people take the route of learning to use a manual. In England, I'm lucky I have a choice now. I either go down the automatic route, that means it has an automatic gearbox. I only need to worry about two pedals, that's the brake pedal and the accelerator pedal. So basically my left leg just rests, doesn't do anything, it's just the heel of my right foot pivots between the brake and the accelerator. So what did I learn today? It was quite terrifying. I was more nervous before the lesson. I think it was the apprehension of it. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to be out of control against this powerful vehicle, I'm not going to be able to control it. Wasn't that bad. I still can't get my head around some of the controls, but I'll tell you about that later. I'll just tell you about the format of the lesson in case you're worried about your first driving lesson. Okay, let's begin. I booked a 2-hour slot to begin with. It was 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock, which is pretty early in the morning, but I'm a morning person, and I thought, get it over and done with early, then I don't have to worry about it at all. I was very lucky. I managed to get a good night's sleep. I slept for about 7.5 hours, which is good. I thought I'd be up worrying about it. But luckily I drifted off straight away. I woke up feeling refreshed, got ready, and it was time for my lesson. The instructor turned up about 10 minutes late. He let me know he was stuck in traffic, so that was fine. Just hope he didn't use his phone whilst driving. Might cut that bit out. So I was feeling quite nervous beforehand. I thought I'd ease off on the coffee, not have too much liquids, eat some breakfast, that sort of thing. So first of all, when the instructor arrived, I sat down in the passenger seat. He explained some of the controls and the format of the lesson. He then drove to what he called a quiet place, where then we switched. I sat in the driving seat behind the steering wheel and controls, and he sat in the passenger seat. The car had dual controls. Now, this wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought that he'd have a driving wheel on the left hand side. I thought he'd have the accelerator and brake control, but he didn't. All he had was a pedal on the ground. Now, I'm not sure if that was the brake or accelerator or what, but he could take control of the vehicle, and he did a few times. Obviously probably avoiding catastrophe or whatever, but no, I survived. So the lesson starts with the instructor going through what's called the Cockpits Drill. So this involves checking height of your seat, whether or not it's moved backwards and forwards, to make it comfortable. If your feet don't reach the pedals, it's not much use. I found the controls of the car to be quite confusing to begin with. You have the gear lever to your left in the middle. This had several settings. It had park, reverse, neutral, drive. I think that's it. So P was park, obviously. You also had the parking brake on in the middle. So he described basically how all the controls work. The pedals, which was the brake on the left hand side and the accelerator on the right hand side. For some reason I thought they'd be the other way round, but that's just in my head before the lesson. But it wasn't too bad. Very important to adjust the height of the mirrors. Basically so you can see the sides of the vehicle and also the road behind you. The rear view mirror was a true mirror, meaning it gave you a proper sense of distance. You just adjusted it just so it fitted the frame of the rear window, so you can see out that. Whereas the side ones were convex, I believe, so things looked a lot further away. As I said, we parked on a curve, a bend in the road. So when it came to the allotted time, I was told to signal right and pull out. So driving, you have to keep a metre between the vehicle and the curb. I found this quite difficult to do because I didn't have any spatial awareness, how wide the vehicle was, my position in the vehicle. I found that quite tricky. Steering was a bit of a nightmare. You have to feed it through your hands to turn left or right. But I was stuck in Mario Kart mode where you were just making constant changes. What surprised me with the steering wheel was that it almost had to sort of turn round in a full circle just to do a 90-degree turn. Then I didn't know anything about counter steering, so I made the turn, and of course the car kept on going towards the curb. He had to grab the steering wheel to avoid going into some poor hatchback, but that was done. The road was a lot busier than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be completely deserted, straight track of road, but no, there were delivery vans whizzing past, mums and dads doing the school run. It was a lot to take in. But one thing you must remember, you have an equal right to be on that road as anybody else. So, just stand your ground, be assertive. Everybody learns to drive somewhere. So, if they're not tolerant, then they're not a good driver, really. You've just got to be tolerant, and, everybody has priority. As long as you follow the rules of the road, it's not so bad. But steering, as I was saying, counter steering was out of the blue. I just didn't know that was involved. It just seemed counter-intuitive. But once you then sort of counter steered, it wasn't so bad. Our circuit was a residential estate, so there was lots of turns. It seemed to zigzag everywhere, but it probably didn't. Lots of hills, lots of steep slopes. On the hills, it seemed like the car would come to a grinding halt if I didn't keep on pressing the accelerator. But maybe I pressed the accelerator too much, but the car didn't stop. Coming down the hills, you had to constantly put pressure on the brakes just to arrest the car's speed. I went across some roundabouts, well, roundabouts rather. It wasn't so bad. There was a couple of other cars, but it was difficult to think, okay, I have priority, so I can go, and very slowly. I mean, I drove very slowly today. Probably sort of drive the instructor insane, but everybody learns, and go at your own speed. You're in control of the vehicle. You don't want to go racing around, end up out of control. But a lot of it is developing that muscle memory of when to steer, counter steer when you're coming out of the turn. Also, you've got to refocus your perception of the road into which you're about to turn, and then level the car up and reframe. I think I was a bit too hyper aware of everything that was going on around me. Probably too used to being a pedestrian. There was one stretch of road where I went round the corner. I noticed there was a pigeon on the pavement. A bit further on there was a cat that looked like it was going to pounce on the pigeon. And I was thinking, is the cat going to run in front of the road? But I maybe shouldn't have sweated the small stuff. It didn't run into the road. In fact, I should have been concentrating on the road more. I nearly went into a curb because I was just concentrating on the cat. So you think you should focus on the road, the horizon. Very difficult, but I'm sure it comes with practice. What else? Indicators. I thought these were on stalks either side of the steering wheel. So the way you operated, I thought it'd be left stalk for left, right stalk for right, but it wasn't. They're all operated on the left column. So what you do as you're steering, you press down to indicate left. It's always in the direction of the wheel. If you want to turn right, you move up and push the column up. They've got centre position to turn them off. But if you don't turn them off, when the wheel centres itself, then it sort of disconnects the signal, so you don't really have to worry about that. Pedal controls, he kept on saying, stop looking at your feet. Well, it's because I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to get these muddled up. Once I did get muddled up, I hit the accelerator when I should have hit the brake, but nobody was hurt. It's cool. So I think now I've got this major hurdle out of the way, I've got to keep it up. I've come this far. I've passed my theory test. Now that expires in about a year and a half. I have to keep up with it. So eventually I can take my practical. I'm told it takes an average of about 40 hours before you pass your test. So it's like anything, you'll get better. It's developing that muscle memory. It's just developing that spatial awareness. It's getting to know the controls without having to look at them. It's knowing, okay, to turn your foot on its heel between the brake and the accelerator. Apparently the brake's the most important feature. I was told today. What other pearls of wisdom can I impart after today? Just don't worry about it, enjoy it, it'll all come right in the end. And if you think about it, driving instructors and the cars, they have insurance to pay for dents and tyres after sort of over enthusiastic turns. So don't worry about it. I mean, everybody starts at a single place. You know, like a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You know, just that first step is the most important, and I'm pleased, you know, that I've taken it. You know, I felt so, you know, euphoric. Not euphoric, what's the word? You know, just amazed that I'd actually done it, and I felt so happy. So, yeah. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.